Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back for the third and final time here at Cadwell Park on a bank holiday that has been full with drama, multiple race winners, and just fantastic racing from start to finish by the Civic Cup. That's right, it's the season opener for the Civic Cup, and you're watching round 3. Now, behind me, we have plenty of Civics to be getting on with. We'll explain all of the grid rules and everything like that and how they've been assembled like this in a couple of minutes. But we've got Matt Luff starting this time ahead of Alistair Camp. And if anybody remembers race number 2, they were reversed, finishing second for Camp, third for Luff. And the winner of that race was George Alp Williams, of course, starting in 4th, so plenty of protagonists. There is one big story, and that's that Dan Thackeray, currently in the number 29 car. Apparently he's had a penalty applied to him, which means he's been put back to 11th position. And after he won the race earlier on today in race number 1, that's going to be a bit of drama and going to be a bit of a spice to add to the mix here as well. A couple of drivers jumping in the cars. I think the marshals are starting to get their drivers all underway. Just wondering if we can have a chat to potentially Alistair Camp. He's put his thumbs up, but I'm not sure. Alistair, very quickly, can we have a quick chat? This is attempt number 2 for you, is it, in terms of starting on the front row? Obviously, happened earlier on, had a little bit of a technical issue. Are you hoping for better things?
Hopefully. Fingers crossed we don't go backwards this time. Going back to P6 on turn 1 wasn't very fun, but see what we can do, eh?
This time you're chasing Matt Luff as well, which is, again, a bit of a reversal from race number 2. Have you sort of sorted out where maybe he's a little bit slower, you're a little bit quicker? Have you got any ideas of maybe where you'll pull the move?
I haven't, if I'm honest. You try and plan races in your head, but it never works out the way you plan it. So, like I say, we'll just take it as it comes. And I know it's a staggered grid, but front row, to me, seems like you're on pole regardless, because it only takes that little bit of a jump at the start and you're ahead anyway. So let's hope I can capitalise off the start.
I was going to say, Matt's starts haven't been his strong point either, have they? So is that something you've sort of noted down? You've got your technique. I'm not going to ask you to share it with us, don't worry. But have you sort of got an idea how the first couple of laps you want to look?
Yeah, definitely. That last race from P11, I think I was up to P6, I think, from the first bend. So I'm hoping if I can get the launch again like I got then, should be good. Get the tyres nice and warm, because obviously track temperatures dropped quite a lot. It's got colder, so see how it works out. And hopefully I don't get the understeer I got at the end of the last race.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alistair. We'll let you get on with it and start thinking about what's to come. Now, I'm going to stick my head in to George Alp Williams' car, because hopefully George has a quick chat with us. George, are we okay to have a chat? I'm going to open his door for him. Race 2 winner, starting from 4th position, second row of the grid. It's been a pretty decent place to start so far today. Have you got good confidence?
Yeah, if we can get off the line again, our race pace and racecraft is quite good. So if we can get off the line, we should be all right. But let's not try and curse it.
Obviously, it's got a little bit cooler here today as well, hasn't it? I mean, I'm shivering almost doing these interviews and everything like that. Is that going to play a part in terms of the car's handling? Will it take a bit longer to get up to temperature, or do you think it'll all be fine by the time you get around the green flag lap?
In all fairness, it's not been the coldest of days, but everything's gotten up to temperature really quickly, and then even started to overheat fairly quickly. So I'm not really too sure. Hopefully, we'll have to work a lot harder on the formation laps just to get everything up to temperature. But I think it might be a benefit, if anything, because I know myself, towards the end of the last race, everything was overheating a bit, and it was all getting a bit sort of out of control. So hopefully, the lower temperature should play into our hands a bit.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much, George, and good luck for the race. A brilliant helmet as well, by the way. It's a fantastic looking design. I'll let you shut your door because I don't want to break anything, and I have a tendency with race cars to break things. The gate is starting to open. It's letting some of the support vehicles go through. The cars have started up. I think we might try and catch one more word very quickly with another driver, depending. Normally they have to wait for the support vehicles to go down to the pits and all the fans and the pit crew and everything like that before they release the cars. So I'm going to go and have a look and speak to Dan Thackeray and sort of get down to the reason why potentially he started outside the top 10 all of a sudden. Dan, very quickly. I like to interrupt a driver whilst they're getting ready. Dan, what's the story? Why are you back here?
Yeah, it was a very tough qualifying session for us, and the third race is based on your fastest second lap, and to be honest, we literally had one lap in qualifying. So this race was always going to be tough. It was just it was an issue with traffic. There were so many cars on track. It was just a bit unfortunate. So I've got a lot of work to do, and the fast boys are at the front. So I think being anywhere near them would be a bonus. I've just got to try and get as far forward as I can.
I heard a rumour that potentially you were sort of out of position because you got given some kind of penalty at some point during the day, but we haven't heard that confirmed. Is that something that we need to know about?
I had a 2-place grid penalty. They deemed my move for the lead, where we were side by side, was a bit robust. I don't agree.
Drivers rarely do.
No, I think it was very side by side, but you can't really argue with them, and I'll just have to make up for it in the race and try and get those places back.
Well, treat it like an entertainment race. You basically got a reverse grid on your hands again, haven't you? And you did pretty well after the first one, I'm sure. So, brilliant. Good luck, Dan. We'll let you get on with it because the drivers are about to go. So we're going to cut to a very quick ad break, but then I'll be joining DJ for the final race of the Civic Cup.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Cadwell Park for the final race of the day, and it will be, of course, the Milltek Sport Civic Cups will be joining us for their race 3 of the weekend. A big thank you to Jack, who was just joining us in the pit lane, of course, having a quick chat with all our drivers, and a big thank you to Alexi as well, who was doing on the circuit commentary throughout the day. Big thanks to Alexi, keeping us entertained while we were having our break from commentary duties. Like you say, myself, Anthony Jordan, Jack Oliphant, joining you back into the commentary box. It's back in the warm. It's cold out there now, isn't it?
I know, I genuinely was starting to shiver. I was thinking, I can understand why you went and got your coat from your car, which you cheekily parked around the corner.
I did indeed.
Haven't you? But brilliant, Cadwell Park, and you can see some of the, not live images, but the background, a bit overcast like it is now. 2.25 miles, if you've been tuning in for previous races, you know all this already, but 18 very narrow, windy turns, elevation of 105 feet. I wouldn't even say does it justice, because you can't really picture that until you're here at the track. Like I mentioned, slightly overcast now. It started off as a beautiful day, DJ, but now, and then it's sort of maybe even threatened to spit a bit of rain, and now it's just gone a bit overcast and a bit cooler, which might help some of the drivers. We spoke to George earlier on, and he said that actually it might actually aid them in sort of keeping the car at an optimal temperature throughout the entire race.
Yeah, exactly that. We started this race day in kind of conditions that you would find in May, and then we've ended them in conditions you would find in late October time, sort of what you would see. But yeah, final race of the day, they're lined up there ready for their green flag lap. They'll be going out there, and of course a couple of changes that we've had in this, an amended grid, penalties coming in, and a couple of drivers missing as well. Who's missing? You've got it written down, I think, have you?
Yes, so we got Alfie Threlfall, unfortunately won't be joining us after the big incident that he had in race 1. He tried to get the car out in race 2, it didn't happen, and in the end for race 3 it wasn't worth it, they couldn't get the parts. Unfortunately, Harry Threlfall has also come victim of a DNS basically in race number 3, and apparently he didn't get out for race number 2 either. We just sort of missed the reason why, unfortunately. And then Max Edmondson, now we couldn't really miss him in race 2. He had a big plume of smoke coming out of his gearbox for 90% of it.
Yes, yeah. He's definitely having engine issues out there, and of course we had our 2-place driver penalty as well to Dan Thackeray. He was supposed to be starting 9th on the grid. He's now starting P11. In the number 29, so yeah, not gone all Dan Thackeray's way, despite his good performance that we've seen.
No, exactly, but the fact that he has been putting in good performances probably means that he's going to get further forward. So here is the confirmed starting grid. It is, of course, Matt Luff and Alistair Camp on the front 2 rows. We'll explain how they got these positions in a minute. Morgan Bailey and George Alp Williams in the 2nd row, with Will Redford and Harvey Caton in 5th and 6th position. 7th and 8th is Max Lewis and Ryan Bensley, with 9th place being Dan, in fact it's not Dan Thackeray, there we go, thank you very much, it is Bradley Lane and then Max Edmondson. Dan Thackeray is in 11th, with 12th being Alfie Threlfall, who's not here of course. Dan McDonald will be 13th, with Jordan Brennan 14th, Will DeClaudio in 15th, with Paul McHugh in 16th, 17th is Natalie Brooks and Matthew Cripps in 18th, Owen Hillman in 19th, and 20th Jeff Alden. With 21st and just 21st actually, will be Neil Gardner. And of course, Harry Threlfall was supposed to be 22nd, he's not here. On 1st place in the production category will be Dave Marshall. Louis Hansel will be in 2nd, with Alfie Jenkins in 3rd, with Simon Welch in 4th. Reese Lewis and Mark Hughes round out the back of the production category in 5th and 6th position. Thank you very much for giving the amended grid, because I was, even though we had talked about it so often, I was still reading the one that wasn't amended.
I just glanced over my shoulder and just thought, that's the non-amended one he's reading from. Let me just slide that in front of you. There we go. That's the one you want. But yeah, no, definitely. And of course they round out the grid, and of course the entire field itself as well. Now, as you can imagine, temperature has dropped, track temperature has dropped, and there was a little bit of sprinkling of rain in the air as well at some points the other day. Just a small bit. Track is completely dry still. There is no damp patches at all out there, so slick tyres are the way forward. No one putting on any wets or intermediates or anything along those lines. Drivers getting them ready, and someone has just dived into the pit lane. I've just seen off centre. Phil, I'm going to dive and have a look.
Yeah, as DJ goes and has a look at that, and what I will mention as well on our cameras, you may have noticed Matt Luff and Alistair Camp pulling away quite substantially from Morgan Bailey, who's in 3rd place. So clearly the top 2 wanting to get on with things somewhat, and really I don't think Morgan Bailey's quite as keen to get on with it.
I couldn't see who it was.
No, okay, that's fine. I mean,
I tried.
To be brutally honest, yeah, we didn't know. Maybe we'll get an update, obviously, a little bit further on when TSL updates itself. Last 15-minute race, and if anybody's wondering, the grid for this particular race was based off of the 2nd fastest lap times that was done in qualifying yesterday. So don't worry about how the first 2 races were.
There it is.
Redford. And that is very disappointing, because, of course, we haven't mentioned it much today, but the Co-Ord Sport Driver of the Day award, Co-Ord Sport, who we've spoken about a couple of times. We've actually done an interview on the social media channels for Civic Cup with Paul Donnelly, and unfortunately we're supposed to be able to give a Driver of the Day. Will Redford was pretty high up on my list for reasons that I was going to explain.
Mine too.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of a shame for Will Redford there. We can't really give it to someone who hasn't taken part in 1/3 of the races, unfortunately. So it's we're going to have to think of a new name.
It's a bit harsh, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
you've had a hard time. You put in stellar performance. I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. Anyway, the 1-minute board is being held out. There are a few places on the grid. In fact, we're racing already, and that was very quick. And what a start there by the 3rd place man of Morgan Bailey. He's getting past not only a reigning champion, but Matt Luff, who's qualified on pole position twice race so far this weekend. Morgan Bailey into the race lead, followed by Matt Clough and then Alistair Camp. It's been a torrid day for starts for Alistair and Matt, and further back they seem to have all sorted themselves out, but what a start for the second row of the grid by Morgan Bailey.
Yeah, great jump on the line. He beat us to the line as well. I didn't actually see the lights go out, so at least someone was paying attention to the lights. Side by side as the number 88 goes very side by side there. That's Neil Gardner going side by side. This is looking at the race lead, I believe, because it looks like Bailey has now taken the lead. The number 26 and Morgan Bailey now leading this way as they go through Park Corner now, through Chris Curve as well, as they'll come down in towards the next section of track of Gooseneck. And again, it's all turning into a very long train now. No one side by side, everyone just slotting into a track position and holding on to this one. They'll come down the hill now in towards Mansfield of turn 8, and they'll appear at the famous mountain corner in just a moment's time.
It's always a way, isn't it, as well? Morgan Bailey's probably the only driver in those top 5 or 6 that I haven't had a chance to chat to today. With any luck, he'll finish on the podium, and we'll be able to have a chat to him at the end of the day anyway. But look at that as they come over the mountain section, and right in front of our commentary box, it's a fantastic sight to see all of these Civics flying through this back section. I have to say, with the bikes out, we have in our commentary box photos of the bikes going over this particular section, and they do look awesome. These Civics are doing a fantastic job, looking pretty pristine as well. Lights are on some of the cars. It is, I wouldn't say it's dark, it's getting a bit overcast. That might be just to put the driver off ahead of them, to be honest, more than anything else.
Could be so. He is flashing the headlights, so there you go. Might be right. So Matt Luff all over the back of your current race leader at the moment of Morgan Bailey, looking like he wants to try and get past. He's absolutely super glued to that rear bumper of the number 26 that's leading the way, but gained 2 positions on that first lap. Had a fantastic start off the line, and then taking the race lead up into Park Corner. So I'm sure Bailey's got a rather large smile underneath that helmet, I think, as they go around the next lap.
Yeah, Ryan Bensley's actually done another brilliant job to shout out some drivers. He started in 8th, he's up to 5th position, so really good start by them. As look at that, Bailey's having to go defensive on Luff, and you said he was super glued to the back bumper there. You weren't lying. Look how sort of close they are. They're attached to each other completely. And what I would say is Alistair Camp isn't really able to get that close to them, and the rest of the field, George Al Williams, who was a lot stronger in the second half of race 2 than he was at the first half, still not available to him. And there's a big lunge to go there from Matt Luff, and it hasn't come off for him. Bailey was able to get late on the brake, stay in the middle of the circuit, and that's the nature of Cadwell Park racing, really. Even though you might have the move, you might have the late brakes and everything like that, all Bailey did was half go into the middle of the circuit, and all of a sudden Luff couldn't get the move done. And now actually he's probably having to look a little bit further backwards, because a reigning champion, Alistair Camp, is there in the hunt, in for the mix.
Yes, he is indeed. Yeah, the top 3 though, clear breakaway then. 2 battling just behind as well, out Williams and Bensley. Like you say, they're absolutely line astern as well for 4th place. Catton, Lewis, Lane still there for the top 8. Thackeray and McDonald round out the top 10 still. Brennan, De Claudio, McHugh and Brooks, the top 14 from Jakins and Alden, the top 16 cars out there at the moment. 11.5 minutes to go. This is the battle for 8th place. This is Lane and Thackeray, who are again kind of line astern as they come up the hill now, and back here with the race leaders now. And again, it looks like Matt Luff has closed that gap up quite considerably as well. But eyes now on this battle for 8th place.
Yeah, obviously Thackeray, a bit of a recovery drive from his perspective. He's having to fight to try and sort of resurrect some championship points after winning earlier on. And look at this, he's trying to go round to the outside. Now this would probably be move of the day. It hasn't come off, but has it put the driver ahead of him offline? That's Lane, of course. Not quite yet as we jump back to the race lead. Luff still hunting all over the back of Bailey, which doesn't seem to be able to get past him at the moment. But equally, they're both still dropping Camp. As soon as they stop bickering over each other, Alistair Camp doesn't really have an answer to their outright pace here today. Maybe there's a little bit of a gremlin still in the number 1 car, but either way, it's not quite happening for him just yet. Matt Luff giving a little cock of the wheel there, and obviously locking up the rear brakes. He's putting everything into this.
He really is, yeah. He's pushing that Area Motorsport Honda Civic to its, to the ragged edge, really. Sporting the, I have to say, quite Petronas-looking wheel trim that he's got on the front wheels there.
You're not too far off there.
Yeah, I think he's got it right. He's kind of got that tingy yellow, maybe that little extra waff, that rim trim that he's got on there. That's an extra 5 brake horsepower if I've ever seen it.
Well, he needs to put that into 5 brake horsepower into good use at the moment on that previous lap. I don't think he quite did on that last lap. In fact, Bailey got the fastest lap of the race, 0.2 of a second quicker than the driver that's actually currently chasing him. So as soon as Bailey calms down, maybe stops driving in his mirrors, he's actually got some really good pace underneath that bonnet all on his own, so very impressive from him. Not entirely surprising, but if we look at their qualifying times, which we will do in a minute, because here's the production category. This is Dave Marshall fighting with, who is Marshall fighting with there? It's Hounsell, and Hounsell looking up the inside into Coppers, the first corner. Marshall having to defend around the outside. Didn't, in fact, he did very well to defend around the outside through that chicane. So Marshall stays just ahead, but at the moment the production category is actually still being led by Jakins, who's won 2 out of the 3 races so far this weekend. Dave Marshall, though, he's in an unfamiliar car to a lot of these drivers. He's not in the EP3, he's in the FN2, which is a fairly new car, even though it's not a new car. It's fairly new to the Civic Cup category, if that makes sense. And
16 years old.
It's 16 years old, yeah. It's been through the mill in terms of touring cars, yeah.
Oh,
who's that?
It's the 88 that's off the track. That is Neil Gardner, and he's kept it out the tyre barrier, which is good to see. That's at the top of the track. I believe that's through Charlie's that happened. So, and there another one off. Who is that? That is the 28, I believe, is that?
That was a lot quicker as well. I'm not 100% sure where
it might have been Brooks. I think it was actually possibly the 23.
Yeah, it might have been. And I thought that 88 might have been 98 as well on Jordan Brennan. But we'll have to wait until they come across the timing tower and give us confirmation. Here is the battle, I believe, for the first place. Actually, we're jumping back to the very leader of this race. I thought it was Dave Marshall again, but it's not. It's obviously Morgan Bailey and the fight with Matt Luff. Where's Alistair Camp gone? Here he is in shot. There's a massive gap now, 2-second gap between Camp and Bailey. I mean, we didn't expect that, I think, safe to say.
No, didn't expect that at all. These two have, they've not really, well, they had that one go at a battle earlier on, and then they have kind of stopped that. They've kind of effectively worked together, essentially, even though, not what we're seeing right here as Bailey goes defensive in towards the top section of Park. They'll go in towards turn number 5 now, Chris Curve. Again, very fast corner here. Again, you want to let the car run out wide as much as possible. Use all the track. There's limited space of track, I have to say, around Cadwell, to your advantage. Here's a look a little further back there. There's the 14 of Bensley and Caton just line astern. That's about for 5th place. And in comes Brooks in the 23 with some front end damage.
Now, is that Brooks? Is that the 23 that we saw going off the track a little earlier? I thought I should look like a different car, but somebody, well, I'm sure, will rewind this race and potentially tell us a little later on. Thackeray's got past Lane as well, by the way, if you're wondering how the fight for 8th place finished. The leader's going into the yellow flag section, which means we're at the sort of back section. The last couple of corners is where we may well see a driver off the road. We can't see one on that camera angle, but we can see the leaders coming through it now. So that's an overtaking opportunity that's potentially been scuppered for Luff. He'll have to set up maybe a move into the first couple of corners. As they come down the start-finish line now, it's still Luff who gets a fantastic exit out of the final corner, and that's really helping him here today. Luff just can't deal with it, and as I said, neither can Alistair Camp, who actually has probably got more worries about George Alt Williams behind him than he has of aiming for a higher step on this podium. It's brilliant driving by Bailey. To put it into perspective before they start fighting with each other again, Morgan Bailey, he qualified this race with a 38 dead, a 1 minute 38 dead. That's worth keeping in mind as well. It's not just a 38 dead. Matt Luff, a 1:37.39, so 1:37.4, let's call it. Matt Luff, 0.6 of a second quicker than Bailey, but Bailey's able to keep him behind here at Cadwell Park. Really, really impressive. Race pace is obviously more on Morgan Bailey's side than Matt Luff's.
Yep, here is the battle for 5th place. Caton and Bensley that we were talking about earlier on, latching on to the back. Looks like the 271 of Lewis, who's closing in as well. So this is slowly becoming a 3-way battle for this mid-pack section, as, like we say, Max Lewis slowly reeling in these two just in front. A little look further behind as well. More cars coming into play. Everyone's sticking to a rough gap at the moment. Last lap, though, Luff with that fastest lap, 1:38.043. Back here with that battle with Caton for 5th place, and again, they're absolutely super glued to each other as well, aren't they? Not closing in on the drivers in front. I think they're at their own pace, and they're just they're in their own race at the moment. They're not aiming to close up to the drivers in front. 5 minutes to go on the time, so there's not much time left to go in this race. But just an update on the battle for the lead. The gap is still roughly around half a second or so. So they're in a lull at the moment, the lull in the race.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this might be tiredness. It might be the cars are feeling a little bit battered and bruised, and maybe they're just not going as quickly. But having said that, the fastest laps of the race are as fast as the other two races. But sometimes if you're a driver, I mean, we've been here, it's a long day, isn't it, here at Cadwell? We're actually now 10 minutes over the official curfew, but apparently it's a bit of a soft curfew for 6:30. So that just goes to show how long this day has been. And these drivers have had to wait for a long time for their race number 3. So fair play to them, but that might just be settling a few drivers down and thinking, you know what, I'm just going to take the points. There's no point writing a car off on this at this rate. And especially around Cadwell, it is so easy to lose concentration for a split second if you're trying to overtake someone. And, you know, just ask Alfie Threlfall, it's just not really worth it. Obviously, Threlfall, actually, we got an update, didn't we? He actually, his brakes failed completely.
Yes,
Brakes failed.
yeah.
If anybody's watched it, you can catch it on the Alpha Live Facebook pages or my Facebook page with Jacko Racing and all that sort of thing. We put a 14-second clip of what occurred for Alfie Threlfall. It just looked like he'd locked up really late, but what actually happened is his brakes completely failed, and he had the nous to grab his handbrake to slow him down just enough, turn himself so he was hitting the wall backwards and slow him down just enough so it wasn't an even bigger crash. So fair play to Alfie Threlfall. That's very quick thinking and something I wouldn't be able to do.
Well, yeah, no, very quick thinking. You know, it's one of those, it's not a natural thing to do at high speed, is to suddenly grab the handbrake and yank it, is it, at high speed, especially on a racetrack. So, yeah, to think of that so quickly was a very smart thinking. 3 minutes to go then. This battle still heating up for 5th place as Bensley in the number 14 still has Caton all over the back, and that number 54. Caton literally quite super glued as they go up the hill now through Charlie's, and again they'll come on to the park straight. Are we going to see a move potentially in this time? They're running out of time. 3 minutes to go as clipping the grass there was Caton. Brings it back on track, doesn't lose any time, but that was a very touch and go moment there for Caton as they come in very defensive. Goes Bensley into the corner, and a bit of contact between the two of them, bit of front to rear, but they keep it going. It's certainly spicing up for this battle for 5th place. Meanwhile, race leaders have gone. They're actually opening up their gap. It's about 0.8 of a second for the race lead itself, but eyes on this battle for 5th place.
Yeah, it's a fantastic battle. Bailey's actually just stuck a best lap in as well. 37.9, one of the first 37s that we've seen in an actual race pace situation. This, though, as you mentioned, the battle for 5th place. Max Lewis is a driver that I'm very interested in. He got 3rd place earlier on in the day, and he's certainly throwing his weight around now, shall we say. He's very much trying to just eke out a potential gap to try and just launch himself up the inside of Caton. Caton, he was very nervous earlier on. He was off the track a lot in race number 1 and race number 2. The only unfortunate bit that we saw of him was him again off the track. He did finish all the races, but it wasn't exactly an ideal situation for him. And but today, now, this race 3, he's finally maybe settled in. The nerves have sort of dissipated, maybe a little bit too late. But fighting for the top 5 position is really something he can be trying to be proud of. Bensley's obviously 5th at the moment, then Caton, and then Lewis, who, as I said, has had a podium today. So you can't underestimate how impressive it is that Caton's keeping him behind.
Yep, indeed, as well. Rest of the field slotting through as well, all having a fairly standard and good race, pretty calm race as well, I'd probably say. Lane still holding on to 9th place, McDonald still there in 10th, Brennan holding on to 11th place from DeClaudo in 12th place, McHugh in 13th place, from Jakins in 14th, Marshall is holding on to 15th, running well 3rd, I believe, in class, no, 2nd in class, I believe, now has caught up to the back of the 754 of Jakins. There's about 4 seconds between them. That's for 14th place. Housel, Gardner, Hillman, Hughes and Lewis as well, the top 20. Only a couple of retirements from this one. Alden and Redford, of course. Brooks still there as well, also with an issue. He came in earlier on, she came in, earlier on with the number 23. Welch is still there in 21st place. So still chopping and changing, but I believe the last lap is upon us.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to look at the pitch straight to see if a checkered flag is about to be waved, but I think they might just squeeze in this extra lap. I wouldn't be surprised if they chucked it early, but here we are. Bailey still leading from Luff, and who's that just behind him, actually? No, it's a back marker, it must be, actually, because it's definitely not Cam. The checkered flag's not out, but the last lap board is, I believe. Yeah, it is. So it's the last lap. So we are going to have one more, 6 seconds to spare as Bailey crosses the line with a really, I wouldn't say a healthy lead, but it's probably just enough so he doesn't have to worry about defending all the time, maybe just in some key corners.
I say they've got a comfortable battle buffer between the two of them.
Oh, yeah, and it is Alp Williams who's actually in third place, who's gotten ahead of Alistair Camp. And, well, I mean, it's not that purple car that we can see in the background. It's actually the cars that we can see after that over the horizon. But there is a change for third place. And look at Matt Luff's bonnet flapping up and down. He won't get a technical for that, but you just hope that the bonnet releases don't come up so we can't see anything.
I have to say, Matt Luff has really closed that gap up now to your race leader, Bailey, in the number 26. It's probably the closest it's been since this race has started, and only a few more corners to go, and probably one of the most technical parts is looking down the inside there into Mansfield, and the move wasn't done. Slots back into position. They'll come down in towards the mountain section now for the final time. Timer strikes 0. Who is going to break later into the corner. It's going to be Bailey who holds on to the lead as they enter into the mountain section, and over the top they go into the final section of track. There's not going to be many opportunities to get this move done.
No, exactly not. And Morgan Bailey is all about winning. In his personal profile, he said he wants to win. In his series ambition, he says he wants to win. And his highlight from last year is the fact that he was winning. So he is here for one reason only, and it's the reason he's about to achieve here at Cadwell Park for the first time this season in the 2022 Milltek Sport Civic Cup Championship. It is Morgan Bailey who takes the checkered flag ahead of Matt Luff, and although he's had a fantastic qualifying, has not yet stepped on the top step of the podium, but two solid podiums from him. I'm sure he'll be very pleased about. Alp Williams comes across. That's George Alp Williams, race 2 winner, takes the bottom step of the podium, with Alistair Camp, who's had, from his standards, a day to forget, shall we say. 4th place, normally drivers will be very pleased with that, but I know Alistair will be probably kicking himself slightly. Just didn't quite have the pace. He had technical difficulties in the first race as well. It's not quite gone his way. In the end as well, Caton actually took home 5th position. Lewis took home 6th, and 7th was Bensley. So something big happened on that final lap for that fight with the top 5, but it did look like it was brewing.
Well, there was a very large incident that happened out on the circuit as well, and I'd just like to pay my respects to the squirrel that ate a Honda Civic front wing in that one. Yes.
How on earth have we found that one out? One of the cameramen supported that?
Yes, I think it took a front head-on knock from a front bumper, did a squirrel out on circuit. So rest in peace, Steve the Squirrel, we'll call him. So there we go. But excellent. The race winners will obviously come into the pit lane in just a moment's time. Jack Oliphant will head down to the winner's circle, the podium area, and have a good old chin wag. We'll end the day with Jack down there. There's a look at the results then at the end of that race. Bailey takes the race winner, the number 26 Honda Civic EP3 for the MGB Motorsport team. Luff will take 2nd place for the Area Motorsport team. Alp Williams in the number 5 will take 3rd from Camp in the number 1, finishing 4th place after that one after a last few lap overtake. Caton crosses the line from 5th place from Max Lewis. Bensley will take 7th place. Thackeray will round out the 8th place spot from McDonald, and Lane taking the 10th place spot. Brennan will take 11th place from De Claudio in 12th place. McHugh will take 13th place. Jakins will take the race category win in the production class in the 754, finishing 14th overall from Dave Marshall. Houndsdon will finish 3rd in class in 16th place. Gardner finishing in 17th place in the number 88. Hughes, Hillman and Lewis finishing the top 20. And then, of course, we'll have the retirements further down. Welsh will have finished in 21st place. We lost Natalie Brooks in that one. Alden and Redford. Redford didn't even get to start the race, which was a huge shame. So finishes with no laps completed. Drivers will be heading to the pit lane. Jack Oliphant is running, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe my eyes. Jack Oliphant is running in public, not on camera, but he is running indeed. I think he's ready. We'll head down to the pit lane. Jack, over to you.
It's very painful to be running. I mean, you hitting leg day, DJ, you wouldn't know about it, as I know. Right, Morgan Bailey, I want to have a chat with him because it's a driver we haven't chatted to so far today. A fantastic array. We can actually finally get the cars all properly lined up in the assembly area because this is the last race of the day. Morgan Bailey, well, say well done to Matt if you want, but then very, very quickly come and have a chat to us in front of your race-winning car. You're all about the wins. In your commentary profile, you just said win for personal. Your series ambition was to win. Your highlight was winning. That must feel sweet. Yeah, that's very true. How does that feel then?
Yeah, it's good. We've had a difficult day. It's a bit of bad luck in race 1, radiator failure, so we couldn't participate in race 1. Race 2 started from the back, managed to get to 6th, which I was really happy with, and then started 3rd in that one. Really good start, led all the way. Matt had a few looks here and there, but I had them covered.
You make it sound very easy. Your race start was absolutely ballistic, by the way. I won't ask you to reveal your secrets because you've got another, I don't know, 13 races to go in the championship. But you make it sound easy to hold Matt off. It's not easy, is it? Let's face it. You're doing yourself a disservice there. I think you drove very well.
Yeah, he's very quick. He's very consistent as well. Had a couple of looks. The gap was pretty much the same all the way through the race, really. There was a couple of spots where he was stronger than me, and I covered on them few opportunities what he had. Other than that, yeah, got the win.
Well, you sound a lot more relaxed than when I took my race victories back in the day. I have to say, I'll be absolutely buzzing right now. Anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we let you go?
The sponsors, Attis Insurance, really. Big thanks to them. Havercroft Construction, wouldn't be possible without them. And family, really, wouldn't be possible without them either.
No, plenty of people to thank. Well, congratulations. I'll let you go and enjoy it with all your friends and family and sponsors and everything like that. Morgan Bailey taking the last victory. Now, 2nd place. We've chatted to him a lot. He's probably getting quite sick of me, but luckily he's got Andy McEwen back in a couple of weeks' time, of course. Matt, it's still not the top step, but it is a lot of solid points that you've scored today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the start of that race, I saw Morgan had an amazing start. Went around my outside, and yeah, once he got into the lead, I thought, right, if I stick with him, we can pull a gap from the guys behind and hopefully have a battle at the end. I mean, like I said to those guys there, the whole race I was trying to climb in his boot, and then just wasn't quite enough. But yeah, fair play to Morgan, brilliant stuff. And yeah, you know what, I've had a pretty good weekend. 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th. I think that's a championship lead as well. So
I think you get points for pole positions and fastest laps and everything like that as well, don't you?
Yeah, I think there's a point for fastest lap. I think Morgan just got me on that one as well. So.
He did, yeah. He got 37.9. It was an absolute flyer, to be fair. It was very, very impressive. So you had the plan in your head where you'd use the first half of the race, attach yourself into his back bumper and try and get away from the likes of Alistair and the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely. I saw Ali was on a bumper for quite a while, and I think he got in a bit of a scrap with George, and that was enough, just enough for us to break. And then, yeah, that was it. We were gone. So easy sailing from there.
We've asked you this a couple of times today. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Try to think of some other names that maybe you haven't called out before.
No, just mainly my mum and dad for all their support, you know, all my sponsors and partners and that, and all the people that come down to support me. Really thankful.
Brilliant. Well done, Matt, on the 2nd place yet again today, and we'll hopefully see you on the podium. Right, another driver we've had a chat to before as well today, but only the once, is 3rd place man George Alp Walters. So, in fact, am I saying that right? Williams, sorry, not Alp Walters, it's Alp Williams. George, is there any chance we can have another quick chat with you? Because at the end of the day, you ended up overtaking the current reigning champion in the last couple of laps. You must feel like that's a pretty good 3rd place, hard fought, but well deserved.
Yeah, it was a close race, to be fair. Morgan and Matt cleared off, and we had, I had no temperature in the tyres for the first few laps. They sort of got away a bit, but then the tyres came in really well, and I think maybe the people in front were starting to overheat a bit, but we were fine from then on, and we were sort of, I was faster than Ali in some sections, and then he would pull away on other sections, so it was sort of really close between me and him. And then he made a mistake down by here, so I knew it was sort of my only chance, and I think we made a bit of contact, but I think I got the move done. I got a bit of a squeeze off him, but I think that's racing, and I think I was past him at that point, or alongside him enough to have deserved room, I think, but I think at the end of the day, that's just racing.
Well, we'll see if it goes to the stewards. We'll see what they say, but by the sounds of it, it seemed all fair from your perspective. Congratulations on the 3rd place and obviously the race victory earlier on. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, maybe that you didn't before, or a second chance, basically?
Yeah, same as before. The sponsors, Advanced Fire, Glenusk, Chris, this man here. But yeah, it was just happy to be here. I couldn't be here without the sponsors behind me, or my parents, or anyone really. So I'm grateful for all the help I get. But yeah, it's been a good first round to an extent, and here's the next one at Brands.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations, George. We'll let you go and enjoy it, of course. Right, production category. We'll try and keep this relatively quick for these drivers because, well, they're the same drivers we seem to be talking to every single time. We'll get the race winner, Alfie. I'm going to try and think of something I haven't asked you already. I've commented on your height. I've commented on your brilliant driving ability. I suppose talk us through that race while I think of something.
It was a good race, yeah. I led off the start again, which is great. Good start. And yeah, just keeping up with the cup cars again. Had a few of them off the start. And yeah, that was it. Just led my own from there, really.
You ended up with a really nice gap between yourself and Dave Marshall once he got into that second, once he sort of got into the second place. I think it was 15th overall, just behind you. The gap started to come down ever so slightly. It was a couple of maybe a tenth or so per lap. Was that a case of you just enjoying the battle with the drivers ahead, or were you managing a gap, or what's the crack?
I was just taking it easy towards the end, really. Just make sure I bring it home, which I did in first, so couldn't ask for much more.
No, exactly. The aim of the game is to win, of course. Anybody you would like to give a shout-out to, maybe that you haven't before or something, I don't know?
Obviously, all my team at Jenkins, race preparation, friends and family for all coming to watch me. Shaney and Mike, I know they'll be watching at home. So, yeah, couldn't ask for much more on the first meeting.
Brilliant. Well done, Alfie. We'll let you go and enjoy it with all your friends and family. Nice round of applause. And he hasn't even taken the podium yet. Very nicely done. Dave, you know what's coming. Get over here. We've chatted to you quite a lot. It's all been about the same position, unfortunately. There was a little bit of a scrap for you at the early doors, and then it was just a case of trying to eke away that time into Alfie.
Yeah, I mean, what a challenging start that was. I don't think we'd even finished stop rolling, and the lights went out, and I was in neutral. So in gear, and then, yeah, starts just haven't been my thing today. We've lost out on the start every time. But we got in a rhythm, got a good lap in at some point, and then what a fantastic battle. Like, that's what racing's about, isn't it? Super close racing, super fair.
I'm glad, DJ, me and you weren't just the only one that caught out by the lights, because honestly, everybody parked up, you guys were still rolling, and then it was sort of looked over, oh, the lights might be coming, oh, they're off, oh, okay, we're racing. So was that a bit of a surprise for you?
Yeah, we were rolling down the bank, and I was just in neutral, steady away, pulled up to me grid slot, and then the lights went out into first, and then blooming Alfie comes steaming past. So job's done at that point, isn't it? It's such a tight track, it's really hard to race, and we're within tenths on lap time, so there's not much we can do about it.
Well, there you go. Lesson learned on your first weekend. Keep it in first and coast. That's there you go. That'll be something that we have to keep an eye on. Cheers, Dave. Right, I believe it's Louis. Louis, third place again. You maybe a little bit nervous last time I spoke to you, but you must be getting used to this podium position and stuff by now.
Yeah, third again, not bad. Started second, and then Alfie just got a blinding start, so I just tried to keep with him, and then a car got in between me and Dave, so had to do some overtaking, and then me and Dave had a fantastic battle for the last 2/3 of the race. We were side by side going up the hill 2 laps in a row, and it was just amazing racing. I loved it, yeah.
Well, you got a big smile on your face, and obviously Dave does as well. Big congratulations on the third position. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? I know you did before, and I know you got lots of cheering fans in the background like Alfie does. But anybody else, I mean, even the family dog or something like that?
Also to my sister who's at home, who wasn't able to be here. She's watching on a live stream, so thank you for that. And also all the people here as well again, yeah.
Brilliant, well done. I'll let you go and celebrate with them as well, because I believe there's some sparkling J2O or something probably on the order for him. Can't have anything too exotic, can I, even if it is a bank holiday. Right, that's all from us for the Milltek Civic Cup. A big thank you to everybody who has come down, all the drivers and everything like that. In fact, should we do? Yeah, we can just quickly do the podium. We haven't done this before, but since it's the last race of the day, why not? I don't know if Mr. Lines wants me to read out the podium. In fact, yeah, driver of the day. In fact, we know what the driver of the day for the production class actually is. We'll be able to announce that in due course. And one of our names for the driver of the day in the Cup category has unfortunately retired for race 3, so we'll think of another name. I'll probably go for Williams with a race victory and a second place. Or, yeah, Harvey Caton actually improved a lot over the course of the weekend. Yeah, Harvey Caton, that's it. And sorry about that, just having a chat to Stuart Lyons, trying to pick our driver of the days, and we'll be able to announce them in a couple of minutes' time as the Cup category ends up taking their last podium of the weekend here at Cadwell Park. All three up on the top step, well, I'm sure in a couple of minutes' time anyway, to get all the photos. Plenty of smiles and hopefully no champagne spraying, because I'm dangerously close to the splash zone. Congratulations to the Cup category. And I believe we've got the production category up for grabs as soon as they stop talking to everyone. Go on, we're past curfew here, boys. Let's get on with it.
What's the score? Up on the podium.
Well, in third place is obviously Louis Hounsell. Which I assumed would get a big cheer from the driver. There we go. In second place is Dave Marshall. Taking his prizes from Paul Dalton, obviously of Co-Ord Sport, which sponsored the Driver of the Day round as well. We'll announce that in a couple of minutes' time. Not yet. You don't spray yet until everybody's on the podium, Dave. And finally, on the top step of the podium, yet again, is Alfie Jakins. As the photos get taken now, Stuart Lyons is about to award, in fact, actually, I think everybody's going to step away. No, we're going to go straight forward. So the driver of the day for the Cup competition is Alfie Jakins, the Co-Ord Sport driver of the round. Double trophies. It means he walks away with a total of 4 this weekend. I'll have to start putting up the IKEA furniture and trophy systems, I think. Trophies are done. You guys can step away. And we've got one more trophy to announce. I hope that our chosen Cup category winner of a driver of the day is here with us. He didn't get on the podium, so I'm hoping he's stuck around. Stuart, is he around? He's coming down. He's coming down for a couple of minutes at a time, so hopefully we'll get him down. We'll round this up nice and quickly. Stuart wants to get this filmed, and obviously it's a fantastic support of Co-Ord Sport have sponsored the driver of the round, so it's only right that we get the drivers down here to try and give them their well-deserved trophy. It's brilliant as well. Jakins obviously pretty much cleaning up, didn't qualify on the front row at all. In fact, came from third place in that previous race to get up and take the top step of the podium. Thoroughly well-deserved. He's getting lots of pictures taken now. In fact, he hasn't got enough hands, though, having to be supported with the amount of stuff that he has to carry now, but I'm sure he won't be missing out. In fact, here we go. We've got a driver running over our way. And it is, I believe it's his debut today for our driver of the day in the Cup category. He's looking a little bit nervous, but hopefully I'm sure he'll enjoy it. He's improved massively over the course of today. First race, a little too often on the grass potentially. Second race, a bit better. Third race, ever consistent and finishing in the top 5. It's Harvey Caton. From the Co-Ord Sport driver of the round in the Cup category. Fantastic achievement there by Harvey. I'm sure a trophy he'll remember for quite some time. That was Stuart Lyons bringing him over. Harvey, very quick in that. There we go, Stuart. You can tell he's the promoter of the series, can't you? Because he's straight in there. Congratulations. We had a chat to you halfway through race 1. Everything seems to have just calmed down a touch, and that last race was fantastic.
Yeah, I was just like trying to keep my pace, keep up with the driver in front. And luckily I managed to get that move on the last corner, which was pretty good. And yeah, it was a pretty calm race for me compared to the last 2, so I'm very happy with that.
I was going to say, that's what really got you this trophy, was the improvement that you made. And I believe this is your debut weekend in the Civic Cup. Has that at all changed your perspective of what you're aiming for the next 13 races?
Well, this year's season we were just trying to build on what we have so far. Obviously trying to take the skills that I've took from JICC and build on that. So hopefully next season I can do even better. Fantastic. And very quickly, since we've got the time on you, anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to? Big thanks to any of the team members, sponsors, family, etc., etc. I'd just like to give a big thanks to JWB. They've supported me the whole way through this first round and gave me all the tips and pointers, and big thanks to my family for coming and supporting me. They're always on the sideline cheering their hearts off, so big thanks to them. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Harvey, and a big congratulations on Driver of the Round. Now, we will finish this stream out. Thank you very much for watching, sticking around. We've had some delays today and a bit longer streams than we were expecting, but it's always awesome to have the support of everybody watching at home. My name's been Jack Oliphant for the Milltek Civic Cup. We've been joined alongside me by the Alpha Live team and, of course, Anthony DJ Jordan. Hopefully, you'll hear us later in the season as well. Please do subscribe, follow, do whatever you need to do to catch all the action for the rest of the year. Andy McEwen will be back with you at Brand Hatch. Good night.